stadium lights flicker through the Barcelona twilight. Empty seats, silence where there should be roar. This is not the Camp Nou you remember. For 70 years, this club was football royalty. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Ronaldinho, names that made children dream. But in the summer of 2022, FC Barcelona wasn't dreaming. They were drowning. 1 billion euros in debt. Their greatest player gone. Their legacy crumbling. And yet, somehow, impossibly, what happened next would shock the football world. One summer, one desperate gamble, one transfer window that would either save Barcelona or destroy them completely. This is the story of how the impossible became reality. August 2021, the day football stopped making sense. Lionel Messi stands at a press conference, tears streaming down his face. The greatest player in Barcelona's history is leaving. Not because he wants to, because Barcelona literally cannot afford to keep him. The club's wage bill is so catastrophic that La Liga won't even allow them to register their own legend. Imagine that. The man who brought them 4 Champions Leagues, 10 La Liga titles, 6 Ballon d'Ors. Gone. Because the books don't balance. And this wasn't just about money on paper. This was humiliation on the pitch. Barcelona, the club that once won 6 trophies in a single year, couldn't even make it past the Champions League group stage in 2021. Bayern Munich destroyed them 3-0. Benfica beat them. They finished 3rd behind Bayern and Benfica. 3rd, Barcelona, in the group stage. Meanwhile, in La Liga, they were watching Real Madrid celebrate titles while they scraped into top 4 like it was an achievement. The Camp Nou, that cathedral of football, felt like a mausoleum. But here's where it gets interesting. Joan Laporta, the president who brought Messi to glory years before, had returned. He'd won the 2021 presidential election with promises that sounded insane given Barcelona's situation. Restore greatness. Compete again. Win trophies. People thought he was delusional. The club owed over 1 billion euros. The wage structure was broken. They had players earning fortunes while contributing nothing. The stadium needed rebuilding. Income was plummeting. Sponsors were nervous. And La Liga's financial fair play rules meant Barcelona couldn't even register free transfers without selling players first. So what does Laporta do? He pulls the most controversial lever in modern football history. Summer 2022. The levers. Laporta starts selling parts of Barcelona's future. 25% of La Liga TV rights for the next 25 years. Gone. Sold to an American investment firm for 667 million euros. Then another 10%. Gone. Then 49% of Barca Studios, their media production arm. Sold. In total, Barcelona generates roughly 868 million euros by selling pieces of their future income. The reaction is immediate and brutal. Football purists are horrified. Journalists call it financial suicide. Former players question whether this gamble will condemn Barcelona to decades of reduced income. One Spanish football finance expert says on television that Barcelona is eating tomorrow's dinner to pay for today's feast. Social media explodes with debate. Is Laporta a genius or a madman? Is he saving Barcelona or selling their soul? But Laporta isn't finished. He's just getting started. The strategy becomes clear. Barcelona isn't just trying to survive. They're trying to win. Now, Xavi Hernandez, the club legend, had returned as manager in November 2021. He'd walked into chaos. A broken squad. No confidence. No identity. But Xavi had a vision. He wanted to restore what made Barcelona Barcelona. The possession football, the pressing, the beauty, and he needed specific players to do it. The board backed him, with the lever money burning holes in their pockets, and La Liga finally allowing them to spend again. Barcelona went shopping like a club that hadn't been on the brink of administration 12 months earlier. July 2022, the first domino falls. Robert Lewandowski, one of the planet's deadliest strikers. 33 years old, but still scoring goals like he's 25. He's at Bayern Munich, supposedly happy, supposedly settled. Barcelona shouldn't have a chance. They're financially crippled. They have no Champions League knockout stage football to offer. They've just lost Messi. Why would Lewandowski choose this mess over Bayern's machine? But Xavi gets on the phone. He sells him a dream. Not money, not glory, a project. Come and be the striker that leads Barcelona's resurrection. Be the one that everyone remembers. Lewandowski is intrigued. More than intrigued. He tells Bayern he wants out. Bayern resists. Barcelona negotiates. 45 million euros plus add-ons. The deal gets done. Lewandowski holds up the Barcelona shirt, and the football world blinks in confusion. How did Barcelona just sign Robert Lewandowski? The shopping spree has only just begun. Rafinha arrives from Leeds United. 58 million euros. Brazilian winger, 25 years old, rapid, technical, exactly the kind of player Barcelona used to develop themselves but now had to buy. Chelsea were in for him. Arsenal wanted him, but he chooses Barcelona. Again, Xavi's influence. The project, the history, the promise that this club is coming back. Jules Count, the defensive rock Barcelona desperately needed. Sevilla's French center-back. Chelsea had practically agreed to deal with him. Medical booked. Everything ready. Then Barcelona gazumps them at the last second. 55 million euros. Calling the big Barcelona over Chelsea's billions. Another statement. Another signal that something special is brewing in Catalonia. Andreas Christensen. Free transfer from Chelsea. Danish international defender. Cultured, intelligent, perfect for Barcelona style. He chooses Barcelona over staying at Champions League winners Chelsea. Free. Frank Kessie. Free transfer from AC Milan. Ivorian midfielder. Powerful, energetic, everything Barcelona's soft midfield needed. Free. Look at those names. Lewandowski, Rafinha, Count, Christensen, Kessie. Just 12 months after losing Messi and being unable to register players, Barcelona has outspent almost everyone in Europe. They've convinced stars to reject richer clubs. They've built a squad that suddenly looks dangerous again. But here's the problem. They still need to shift players. The wage bill is still enormous. They still have expensive passengers earning fortunes. Philippe Coutinho, the 140 million euro disaster, gets loaned to Aston Villa, then sold. Philippe Coutinho, who was supposed to replace Iniesta, who became one of the worst transfers in football history. Gone. Clement Lenglet, the error-prone defender. Loaned to Tottenham. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, signed just 6 months earlier. Sold to Chelsea. Samuel Umtiti, whose knees gave out, but whose wages didn't. Finally convinced to leave. Martin Braithwaite, released. Riqui Puig, released. Memphis Depay, eventually leaves. Barcelona is ruthless. If you don't fit Xavi's plan, you're gone. No sentiment, no loyalty, just survival. August 2022, preseason begins. The new signings arrive at Barcelona's training complex. Lewandowski meets Pedri and Xavi, the teenage midfield prodigies who represent Barcelona's future. Rafinha trains alongside Ousmane Dembele, who suddenly looks motivated again. Count partners with Ronald Araujo, the Uruguayan warrior. Christensen and Kessie slot in. Xavi watches from the sideline. The pieces are coming together. The first match of the season. Barcelona versus Rayo Vallecano. Lewandowski scores. Of course he scores. Barcelona beats Rayo Vallecano 0-1 away. Sergio Busquets gets sent off. It's scrappy. It's not beautiful, but it's 3 points. Then Real Sociedad at home. 4-1. Lewandowski scores twice. Rafinha gets one. The Camp Nou erupts. Then Vito lead. 4-0. Lewandowski again. Hat-trick in 3 games. Barcelona isn't just competing. They're demolishing teams. The season unfolds like a fairy tale. Lewandowski is scoring for fun. 23 La Liga goals by season's end. Exactly what Barcelona paid for. But it's not just him. Rafinha is creating chaos on the wing. Count and Araujo form a defensive partnership that's suddenly one of Europe's best. Xavi and Pedri control midfield like they've been doing it for a decade, not 2 years. Alejandro Balde, a 19-year-old left-back from La Masia, explodes onto the scene, and suddenly Barcelona don't even miss Jordi Alba. Real Madrid, the defending champions, can't keep up. Barcelona beats them 1-0 at the Bernabeu in October 2022. Kessie scores the winning goal. Frank Kessie, the free transfer, scores at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. The symbolism is perfect. Barcelona isn't just back. They're beating Madrid in Madrid. In March 2023, Barcelona hammers Madrid 2-1 again at the Camp Nou. The title race is over. Madrid can't catch them. May 2023, Barcelona wins La Liga, their first league title since Messi left. Their first title in 4 years. The Camp Nou celebrates like they've won the Champions League. Because in a way, this means more. This isn't a super team winning because they're supposed to. This is a club that was dead in the water 18 months ago, written off, mock-pitted. And now they're champions of Spain again. Xavi lifts the trophy. Laporta stands beside him. The gamble paid off, but there's a shadow over the celebration. The Champions League. The competition Barcelona built their modern legacy on. The competition they've now failed in twice running. In 2022-23, they finished third in their group. Again, behind Bayern and Inter Milan. Again, they can't even make the knockouts. They drop into the Europa League and get beaten by Manchester United. The European humiliation continues. Still, domestically, Barcelona is back. And the players Laporta signed in that wild summer of 2022, they're still here, still contributing. Fast forward to today, November 2025. Robert Lewandowski is 37 years old now. He's no longer the guaranteed starter, but he's still at Barcelona, still scoring important goals, still the professional Xavi needed. His leadership over these 3 years has been invaluable. He gave Barcelona credibility when they had none. Jules Kounde has become one of the world's best defenders. He and Urho are the foundation of everything Barcelona does defensively. Kounde has played over 100 matches for the club. Consistent, reliable, worth every euro. Andreas Christensen has battled injuries, but when fit, he's exactly what Barcelona needed. A calm, intelligent defender who can play out from the back. He's made over 60 appearances and remains a part of Flick's plans. Frank Kessie? He left for Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia in summer 2023. But his contributions in that title-winning season, including that goal at the Bernabeu, secured his place in this story. Sometimes signings are about moments, not careers. And then there's Rafinha. Oh, Rafinha, the man who many questioned. Too expensive, not good enough, inconsistent. Well, in the 2024-25 season, Rafinha has exploded into world-class form. He's been one of Europe's most devastating wingers. His performances have been so exceptional that people are genuinely discussing him as a Ballon d'Or contender. A Ballon d'Or contender. The Brazilian winger who arrived with questions is now answering them with brilliance. That's the kind of development Barcelona gambled on. So is it worth it? The critics haven't gone away. Spanish football finance experts still warn that Barcelona sold too much future income. Those TV rights deals will hurt for decades. Every season, Barcelona earns less than they could have because they sold those rights in 2022. When other clubs are growing revenue, Barcelona's is capped by those sales. Some estimates suggest the club will lose over 1 billion euros in potential income across the 25-year period. That's not speculation. That's mathematics. There are concerns about sustainability. Can Barcelona continue competing when their income is structurally lower than Real Madrid's? When Premier League clubs have more money to spend, the La Liga salary cap is still restrictive for Barcelona. They still have to perform financial gymnastics to register players. In summer 2023, they couldn't even register new signings without creating more levers. The financial problems didn't disappear. They just got postponed. But then look at the other side. Barcelona won La Liga in 2023 and then in 2025. They're competing again in 2023-24 and 2024-25. Top players want to join them again. Rafinha is a Ballon d'Or candidate. Xavi and Pedri are superstars. The Camp Nou is full again. The global brand has recovered. Sponsors are back. Younger fans who might have drifted toward Premier League clubs or Real Madrid are now Barcelona fans again because Barcelona is winning again. And here's the thing nobody talks about. What if Barcelona hadn't pulled those levers? What if they'd accepted 3 or 4 years of rebuilding? Finishing 5th, finishing 6th, losing in the Europa League, watching Real Madrid dominate while Barcelona faded. What happens to the brand then? What happens to revenue when you're irrelevant? How do you attract top talent when you haven't competed in years? Maybe Laporta understood something the critics didn't, that in modern football, you cannot afford to be irrelevant, not even for 2 years, because irrelevance becomes a spiral. Less success means less money, means less success, means less money. Barcelona was already in that spiral in 2021 and 2022. The only way out was a shock to the system, a gamble, a statement that Barcelona refuses to accept mediocrity. The summer 2022 transfer window was exactly that statement. It wasn't financially responsible by traditional measures. It probably wasn't sustainable long-term without other successes. It definitely mortgaged parts of Barcelona's future, but it achieved the one thing Barcelona desperately needed. It made them relevant again. It made them winners again. It gave a broken club its heartbeat back. Think about the alternative timeline, the one where Barcelona doesn't pull the levers, where Lewandowski goes somewhere else, where Rafinha picks Chelsea, where Count stays at Sevilla, where Barcelona finishes 5th in La Liga 2022-23 while Real Madrid celebrates another title, where Pedri and Xavi start wondering if they should leave, where the Camp Nou stays half empty, where Barcelona becomes the next AC Milan, a historic giant fading into being just another club. That timeline was very possible, probable even. The summer 2022 transfer window prevented it. So here's the final question. Did one transfer window save FC Barcelona? Saved is a strong word. Barcelona still has problems. The financial structure is compromised for 2 decades. The Champions League struggles continue. Competition is fiercer than ever. But if we're asking whether that summer window pulled Barcelona back from the abyss, whether it restored their status as a club that matters, whether it gave them the foundation to compete again, then yes, absolutely yes. Robert Lewandowski gave them goals when they had none. Rafinha gave them width and is now giving them world-class performances. Count gave them defensive stability. Christensen and Kessie provided depth and quality. Together, with Xavi's coaching and the young core of Pedri, Xavi, and Bald, they won La Liga again. They made Barcelona relevant again. They made the Camp Nou roar again. Was it perfect? No. Was it risky? Absolutely. Will there be consequences? Already are. But sometimes a club needs to be bold. Sometimes you have to risk tomorrow to survive today. Sometimes you have to make the gamble that everyone calls insane because the alternative is slow, painful irrelevance. Barcelona made that gamble in the summer of 2022. And 3 years later, they're still standing, still competing, still Barcelona. The lights at the Camp Nou don't flicker anymore. The seats aren't empty. The silence is gone. In its place, 90,000 voices singing again. That's what one transfer window did. It didn't just save Barcelona. It reminded the world why Barcelona matters. And in football, sometimes that's everything.